Welcome back to Midday Live on TV3. Let's do business now. And thousands of workers are likely to lose their jobs in October this year if Ghana fails to sign onto the European Union's Economic Partnership Agreement, the EPA. This was made known by the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Hannah Tete, at a trade forum with exporters in Accra.
The Economic Partnership Agreement is a scheme intended to create a free trade area between the European Union and the African, Caribbean and Pacific group of states. The intervention has become necessary following several criticisms concerning the uncommon and discriminating preferential trade agreements by the EU, which are not in compliance with the World Trade Organization rules. However, the initiative has faced strong opposition from some member states, including Nigeria, citing the implications of the deal by the European Union. But in 2007, the EU introduced an interim economic partnership agreement with interest countries in order to maintain their trade relations. Meanwhile, only 4 out of the 47 eligible African countries have ratified the interim agreement, with only Cote d'Ivoire as the West African country to have signed the deal. At a trade forum with exporters on the way forward for Ghana, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration Hannah Tete said the country's inability to commit to the deal has economic implications.
If we want to continue to have market access, duty-free and quota-free, what we will need to do is to sign and ratify our interim economic partnership agreement. The implications are there also for the companies that supply to the companies that are exporting. Because if your main customer is no longer in business, then of course that basically is going to affect your business.
She also noted the country will no longer be a competitive business destination, which will kick exporters out of business. EU Ambassador to Ghana, William Hanna, stated the signing date will not be extended.
So we have to treat all countries around the world in a similar way, or else we could be criticised in front of the World Trade Organization. So that's the dilemma we have, and the way forward is the EPA, which I see as a win-win situation.
The deal expires on October 1.
Another business news this afternoon, the Chief Executive Officer of the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, Charles Abugri, says poverty levels in the zone has declined from 65% to 40%. He says the authority and development partners are determined to eradicate extreme poverty and boost income levels in the zone. Here's a report by TV3's Eva Atiboka.
Researchers, people in the Sada zone still live below the poverty line. This is despite Ghana attaining middle-income status. The Ghana Living Standard Survey indicates residents of the northern and upper regions of the zone make up more than 1/3 of national poverty figures. Although the authority is making strides in ending poverty, Chief Executive Officer Charles Abugri admits more needs to be done.
Our problem is not simply to reduce poverty today. It is to prevent poverty of tomorrow, which means you have to create jobs. So when we talk about agriculture, you are talking about making agriculture work in such a way that it is a source of wage employment.
At an agricultural investment forum in Accra, officials of the World Bank Group also noted growth polls in the Sada zone point to huge economic potentials yet to be tapped.
We consider the Sada zone as a diamond in the rough, in the sense that the region has huge potential for increased agricultural productivity, import substitution, to transform and become a breadbasket for Ghana.
With the World Bank Group's ambition to end extreme poverty and boost prosperity, Country Director Henry Kerali says the group is focusing more attention on developing the Sada zone.
We are moving more to focus on the Sada zone because that is where the concentration of poverty is.
Developing partners stressed the overall development of Ghana is directly tied to the growth of the Sada zone.
Agriculture-led economic transformation of the Sada zone is a national imperative because the northern regions continue to lag behind, and the economic consequences on Ghana have been significant.
He concluded the transformation agenda of the zone should be the responsibility of all.
The Ayensu starch factory has been reopened after several years of shutdown. In the following news desk report, we chronicle the struggles and success of the company, which was set under the Kufog administration.
The Ayensu starch factory was set up in 2003 as an agro-processing factory to process cassava into food-grade starch for local consumption and export. The Ayensu starch factory was to pilot the cassava starch project under the President's Special Initiative PSI for Agribusiness. It cost 7 million. The factory, built during the Kufuor regime, was shut down in 2006 after 3 years of operations. Experts cited lack of working capital, supply of raw materials and power fluctuations leading to machine failure as the causes of the shutdown. The company needed an estimated 13,000 tons of cassava on a daily basis to operate at full capacity, which officials claimed were inadequate during the first 4 years of operations. Since 2006, it has been operating at 20% instead of its installed 70% capacity due to the unavailability of raw materials. In 2008, the services of technical experts from Starch International Institute, Denmark, were sought to fix the damaged parts to resume production. Currently, the total workforce stands at 100 instead of the initial 300, out of which 120 worked on the company's farms. The finance minister, Seth Steppe, in his 2013 budget statement said the factory had resumed commercial production of cassava starch and was running effectively. Government in June 2014 sold off its stake in the Ayensu starch factory to brewery giant Guinness Ghana Limited. It became a major supplier of raw materials for Guinness in the production of its new production line, the cassava-based Root beer. The factory was established to create a market for cassava growers, develop cassava into starch and allied products, exportation of starch, and create jobs for the youth. After 3 years of collapse, the once vibrant factory has been relaunched to start operation. It has switched hands from public to private. Are there any guarantees that the factory would not collapse again?